And if you look down the list, there's not a whole lot of names that jump off the page at you.
That's incorrect. Stephen A. Smith jumps off the
Stephen A.
page.
Smith, yes. Okay, good point. Is he a Democrat?
Yeah.
I think
He's going to have to run as well.
I think in name he's a Democrat. I think he's just Stephen A. Smith.
Well, I mean, you got to pick one.
Listen, I think that Stephen A. Smith, there's probably a 33% chance that he will be president one day. I'm not joking.
You ask if he's a Democrat? I think he's a Democrat who could win.
Welcome back to Macrodosing. It is Thursday. It is February 13th. Valentine's Day tomorrow. Get ready for Valentine's Day.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit is right.
Damn.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Facts.
But you already got your rose from Steven Singer Jewelers, so it's all good.
But of course.
Yeah, so you're not going to be at any doghouse. Not that you even have a doghouse, because you probably just turned into a torture chamber for your pet. But today's episode of Macrodosing brought to you by Sport Clips. You don't want to be looking sloppy for Valentine's Day. Sport Clips isn't just where you get a haircut. It's your playbook for looking fresh. You can walk in, catch the game, sit back while the pros in men's hair handle the rest. And when you're done, walk out like you're ready to go take on anything. No hassle, no surprises, just a solid cut every time. It's simple, it's easy. It's made for guys who want to feel like they've got the home field advantage. Big T, you strike me as a man who has been to a couple Sport Clips in his day.
Quite a number.
Quite a number.
I bet I've been to 10 separate Sport Clips.
10 different Sport Clips. They got the game on. They got the hot steam towel, the MVP experience. If you want to track your real-time wait times, you can download the app and you can check in online. Sport Clips, the haircut experience dialed in for guys. It's a game changer. Sport Clips, check it out. Download that app. You can look ahead, see how much time you got in terms of the wait, and go and get a great haircut, catch the game, and feel great, and walk out looking great. Sport Clips, game changer. All right, it is Thursday. It's February 13th. We're back. We got myself, Arian, Big T, Mad Dog, Mackenzie, whole squad here. Looking forward to today's topic. We're going to talk about the Zizian death cult. Yeah, death cults are back, baby. They're back, and this is an ongoing thing right now. So some of the people are they're trying to track them down. There have been several people that have been attacked, several that have been killed, but it is a fascinating, weird cult going on right now.
Fire name. It's a fire name.
Zizians?
Got to give it up.
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Zizians is cold.
Too many Z's in there.
No, that's what makes it like.
One Z makes something cool, or maybe two back to back. Two in separate places, though. You're too much.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I think it's a catchy name. If you look at other cults, we've got there's some other big cults out there. Heaven's Gate. We've got the Branch Davidians.
Jonestown.
Swifties.
Yep.
There's in terms of cult names, Stoolies. Zizians is pretty good. I think across the board, it's one of the better ones. But yeah, we'll get to it in a second. Right off the bat, Big T, I did a bad job on Monday. I didn't ask if there was anything that you teed off about.
Actually, one has befallen me this morning.
Okay.
Is there the fact that you're leading with it makes me think that there's something I should be that isn't this?
No.
Oh, okay. Has your phone updated to the new iOS?
I don't believe so.
So mine did against my will the other night.
They put a U2 album on there?
Worse. So now there's this Apple AI bullshit that instead of just having my texts on my phone, it does a bullshit AI summary of them that I don't want, and I haven't figured out how to get it off yet.
So it pops up as a
take that off.
notification?
Yeah, so the notification comes up and it says like my friends were talking about the Red Sox this morning, and it was like Red Sox GM is doing a good job. Like I don't need to. I'll just read the texts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm teed off about that.
You can take it off, but I fuck with it.
I agree. I would not like that. I'd say I don't like 99% of AI innovations.
And then
what's the 1% you do?
They had also downloaded this like app that you're supposed to be able to make pictures and stuff with AI, and I didn't like that either. I didn't think it was very good.
Yeah, no, it isn't. I did do that with my face, and it don't look like me, and it looks
Yeah, I
goofy as
didn't.
shit.
I thought it wasn't very good.
The
The Twitter one is way
memoji,
better.
the Grok.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the AI image generator?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't look like me. Like it didn't. It was like a cartoon. It's supposed to make you into an emoji, and you like they used reference pictures. It's just no. Shit was kind of weak.
Did you use the Apple one where you put on the Vision Pro and then it made the 3D rendering of your head and your face?
I did do that initially. I haven't put that thing on.
Yeah.
Good 6-7 months. I don't even know.
Same. I did that one time on the Dozen, and I was zooming in. I was using the Riverside app, and it generated my like computer image face,
Yeah,
and it was fucking
that's better
weird.
than. Right?
I was just saying it's fucking weird. It did. I guess it did an okay job in terms of, like, it kind of looked like me, but it looked like a very creepy, weird, like smooth Pixar version of me.
Yeah, it's AI. AI doesn't have much use. Well, I take that back. It has a lot, but I think a lot of the like entertainment value stuff is kind of weak.
Yeah, but the only thing that's entertaining to me has been the pissing match between all the different billionaires that are coming up with their own versions of AI, and they all hate the other AI companies, and they just all steal their top people away, and it just becomes like basically middle school drama playing out amongst Silicon Valley.
I saw Sam Altman and Elon are in a tiff now.
Yep.
I didn't even. I saw Elon offered to buy OpenAI or something,
I can't keep up with it. All I know is
and
that
then
they're pissed at each other because
Yeah.
it was all the same people that started to work on it, and then they tried to acquire the other AI group. Then one of the AI groups was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this, but like open source." Then Elon was like, "No, everything has to be open source," and the other company was like, "No, we're gonna keep some of this stuff proprietary." And it's just been, I don't know. I can't keep up with all the drama going on, but they've got their own little like soap opera going on behind the scenes.
I love your hat today.
Thank you.
The Tony Romo.
I love Arian's hat today.
It's pretty nice.
Arian and I are
Wait, yeah. What's going on?
we're both wearing quiet luxury hats.
Hang on.
Do you have one?
Wait, what's quiet luxury?
Oh shit, Big T.
I bought this when I was AJ, Big Boom AJ for Halloween.
So we're all the Black Hat group today.
Is that a thing?
No, I don't know. This is my
is
vacation
now.
hat. I'm gonna buy a fun vacation hat when I get there for sure.
Love that.
You have to do that. Yeah, this is the no logo hat. That's like the Kendall Roy special, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good guy.
Great. One of the best.
I emulate him in most things I choose to do. So yeah, we're back on macrodosing. Big T, I agree. I agree with your teed off. I do not want that loaded on my phone. I do not want to see AI summaries of my text when I can just read my text from my friends.
Right.
Yeah, seems like that's something that really shouldn't be like popping up.
I learned how to do it quite a while ago. I'm pretty good at it, actually.
Yeah. So we resolved a couple weeks ago that at the most we are going to do 5 minutes of Trump on any episode, so we don't turn into just talking about everything Trump did. I'm gonna do it this way today. I have one thing I don't like and one thing I do like. How about that? Both sides. The radical centrism on this podcast. Big T, would you like me to start off with the thing that I don't like or the thing that I do like?
Whichever you're feeling.
No, you tell me.
Doesn't make a lick of difference to me.
Okay, I'll start out with the thing that I don't like.
Okay.
How about that? This plan for Gaza that he's got going on, which is just build a Trump property in Gaza, turn it into the Riviera of the Mediterranean. I've heard a lot of ideas in my day. I'm a good listener. What can I say? I hear a lot of people with a lot of ideas. I try to listen to all of them. It might be the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life. I don't think that's an overstatement either. I feel like if we just take over Gaza and we build resort properties there, I don't see a way that doesn't end in nuclear war.
I don't understand why we even would want to do that.
Because it's real estate. And
Yeah,
and he's
that.
a fan of real estate. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of real estate too. Love land. They're not making more of it. Get in while you can. Just taking over the Gaza Strip, bad idea. Probably the worst. the worst idea in the history of ideas, I would say.
I don't think it's the worst idea, but I don't like it.
Can you name a worse idea?
Plenty.
Can you name one?
The immediate ones that come to mind are too controversial.
Okay. All right. I would say this is probably the worst that I've heard.
Okay.
I don't see a way that this happens without some sort of nuclear exchange. Bad idea. Bad Trump. Bad. Down boy. One thing that he's done that I do like, the paper straws executive order.
I have to find a new single issue. It used to be sports gambling. I said I would vote for anyone that would legalize sports gambling. Then it became getting rid of paper straws, and now that's actually happened.
Yeah.
So now I need a new thing.
Well, I don't know how the executive order is going to get rid of paper straws. I think it does in like federal facilities.
Yeah,
I
I wish it would.
I agree with the
The
sentiment.
president should have the power to ban paper straws completely.
Yeah. I'm glad that he's taking a stand on it. I think it's power using the bully.
You don't
pulpit.
believe that shit.
I mean,
There's no way
I'm
you-
clearly joking.
Okay.
But I hate paper straws.
Sometimes your takes, I don't know, but okay. As long as you're joking, all right.
You're supporting the paper straws?
No, I don't give a fuck what kind. I've never put a lick of thought into what kind of straw I have. I couldn't care less.
You've
But
never
I
used
thought
a
you were
paper
serious
straw
about-
and had a worse experience?
I don't really use straws like that. I mean, I just don't. I just whatever's there is there. I don't.
Oh, we got to get you some paper straws. You'll change your mind.
I've used paper straws. I don't know, man. I think Americans are too fucking comfortable. That's what I think. I think you motherfuckers are too comfortable. It's nowhere near that crucial.
You think it's the government's business to tell you what you are and aren't allowed to suck on?
It's facts.
Keep the government out of my
facts.
mouth.
Well, but that kind of works against us
Yes, it does.
here. So
Yeah. Also, the low flow toilets issue. I'm a big fan of him just like putting an executive order out, being like, we're not doing low flow toilets anymore.
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, no more low flow toilets. We're bringing back the ability to flush, which I love.
I don't hate that.
I also love the idea of that order coming out and then somebody going and taking a shit and flushing and being like, that flush, so we're back.
Yeah.
America's back, baby. So you decide, take the good with the bad, the straws, and then ethnic cleansing in the Gaza Strip and building a Trump property. No one's perfect,
Yeah.
Because like that's the weird thing is it's not America first at all. That's like America last.
Agreed.
And it is endorsing ethnic cleansing. Like literally, that's what it's doing. So bad idea. And then building an American property there and just taking over, being like, "Fuck you." If you want people to get attacked on a daily basis, then I would say go ahead and build a property in the Gaza Strip and have it be controlled by America. That's a good way to do it.
I saw him say like, we won't even have to pay for it. They'll just give it to us or something.
I think he's just riffing. I
think so,
I
too.
don't know that anybody in the White House was ready for him to say that. I don't know that Netanyahu was ready for him to say that. But
He definitely wasn't. Netanyahu was like, "Hey, yo, fam, that's my. I got plans for that shit."
yeah, that's our deal that we're doing right now. But Netanyahu, you can say what you want about him, the man is he's a skilled improver, and the one rule of improv is you say yes and you just roll with whatever the other person's riffing on. So when Trump was like, yeah, we'll put a Trump property there. It'll be ours. It'll be America. We'll take care of it. Yeah, Netanyahu was like, yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Keep going. But yeah, he's just riffing. I don't know. I mean, but a lot of times his riffs turn into actual things. So who knows? So that's 5 minutes of Trump. Did we make it?
Yeah, you have 40 seconds remaining.
I choose to cede the remaining 40 seconds of Trump.
Perfect.
Okay.
Nice.
So moving on to Big T's sheet that he sent over. Big T's been doing some film study on Travis Kelce in the Super Bowl.
I didn't do the film study. I consumed someone else's film study.
I also consumed some film study on Travis Kelce. I need to go back and personally watch the All 22 because I don't know if they're just pulling these clips out. And it's like you can get clips of Luka Doncic not playing any defense, and then you're like, oh, man, look how bad he is. But then you don't see the clips of all the good stuff that he does. So clips can be misleading. I've seen this clip that Big T sent by of Travis Kelce appearing to not block at all on multiple plays in the Super Bowl. And then I saw another one yesterday of Kelce just standing absolutely still.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 frames into the play. Every offensive lineman had taken 2 steps, and he was still in his stance.
Yeah, and then he stands perfectly still, and Mahomes is scrambling around looking for somebody downfield, and Kelce just kind of stands there. Those 3 plays, not a good look. The one that I saw reminded me of that Albert Hainsworth play. I believe that was against the Eagles back in 2010. The Monday night game where Vic and Deshaun just lit it up that game. There was a famous play of Albert Hainsworth who was getting 100 mil, just lying down on his belly on the ground and just not getting up for like 4 seconds because he was too tired and fat. That one clip with Kelce reminded me a little bit of that. I don't know what to make of it besides I'll have to go back and consume the entire all 22. This seems to point to Travis potentially not being engaged. Not at the top of his game in the Super Bowl. Your thoughts, Big T?
I think it's time comes for everyone.
You think this is a father time issue?
Yeah, I think at some point it's time.
Super Bowl is a weird time because what I've seen was more like effort.
You think?
Yeah, in these plays.
That's what I'm saying.
In these plays that I've seen, it's more like effort. It's not like he was trying and just not
I think
good.
he's moving slower though because he's old.
But he's not.
There's a difference.
He's not that old. Like if you're standing still at the line of scrimmage while your quarterback's running around and you're a tight end, and he's famous for getting open and working to find those holes in the zone while Patrick Mahomes is scrambling.
He could have like an undisclosed injury that he didn't let nobody aware of. That's possible, but from this whole year, honestly, when I watched him, I just saw somebody who really wasn't that engaged. Like you said, it just don't look like he won't be there. And that's always a recipe for disaster in the NFL. From my standing, that's what it looked like to me. And the Super Bowl is probably the most coveted sports stage in American history. Like sell out. But it's also like a little bit of privilege there, man. You've been there so many times. This is just like another Super Bowl to you. So
yeah,
it don't look good.
I think if it's purely an effort issue, then obviously that's bad. But I think he's older. Maybe that has something to do with it. But also, why should he want to be there? He should have retired years ago. He has $100 million podcast deal. He's dating Taylor Swift. I mean, what are you doing? I bet when he's out there, I bet that's what he's thinking. What the fuck am I doing?
He's got it all.
Every time he gets hit, he's like, why am I doing this?
I agree with Big T. If you have a successful podcast and you have it all, then
shouldn't even want to play in the NFL.
I don't want to be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. I got something better going on. I'm podding tonight. Yeah, he might retire. This makes me think he's going to retire.
Did you see the thing on New Heights?
I did not know.
Didn't sound like he was
sounded retire-ish.
coming back like 100%.
Oh, really? What did he say?
He was like, it's tough to accept when, you're not at the top of your game like you once were, and that kind of thing. And then he said, if I come back, I would owe it to my teammates to, I think he said, not make it a half-assed decision. It sounded like, he could have easily said, yeah, I want to play football. I'm planning on coming back.
Yeah. If he's talking about not making it a half-assed decision, that means right now he's got one half of his ass in it.
Yeah.
Like currently half-assed. Yeah.
That sounds like someone who wants to retire but doesn't want to give up football. Because you've played it for 25 years.
Yeah. It's fun hanging with the boys.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, I like Jason Kelce a lot. That was my first time getting to hang out with him. We'd met him at the golf tournament out in Tahoe the year before and got to spend, 20 minutes with him. But we spent probably like 2 hours with Jason Kelce on and off camera at the Super Bowl. Very cool guy.
I have no trouble believing that.
Very, very cool guy. I can see why he's so popular in Philly and just a good dude. But yeah, this, I don't know, maybe he wants to drag this out for another couple months for the pod. Will he or won't he?
Yeah.
On the pod.
It's good content.
He has to announce on the podcast, right? Like Schefter can't scoop that.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, Jason Kelce had a press conference.
That's true. I remember when was it Stephen Che that got upset, or Rico Bosco? One of those two. They got upset that Jason was wearing a cutoff shirt to his retirement podcast.
Yeah.
I would guess Che.
I would also guess Che.
I think it might have been Rico, though. I don't know. I don't want to slander Rico. I'm a rider. I do disavow the high noon incident.
Thanks.
I stood firmly with Big T on that.
Thanks.
But yeah.
You were one of the first to be like, well, maybe we forgive Rico, though.
Was I?
Yeah.
I think I wanted you two to have a conversation.
Yes. You were one of the first to, and I like Rico now, but you were one of the first to be like, well, let's build a bridge and get over it.
No, I wanted you to have that conversation on the pod because you guys hadn't discussed it after the high noon, and I'm thinking about content. You don't think people would have wanted to see like
enough.
the first interaction between Big T and Rico after the high noon incident?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Rico, but he the next day made an apology blog
Okay, that's
Thank
good.
you,
to
Rico.
Jason Kelce.
That's good. Sounds like someone told Rico to stand down. That's
Is
what
there
it
an
sounds
apology blog for the high noon? I may have missed it.
like. Yeah, I don't recall an apology blog.
No, it's fine. Some
Jason
days I
Kelce.
wish it would have hit me.
I mean, think about the lawsuit.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I had a discussion with one of our former attorneys from a company that used to be affiliated with Barstool, and I was like, how much could I have gotten? And he was like, if it hits you, a lot. He said, if it didn't hit you, probably like 250 grand, but then you take out all the attorney's fees and shit out of that, and I would have made you quit. So
Yeah.
it would not have, I would have never done it anyway.
Morgan and Morgan.
Yeah.
Should have gone to them
Yeah.
for the people. Yeah, if it had hit you, I mean, it's not like there was a history of Rico and his unhinged behavior
Right.
prior to that point.
Right.
It's not like anyone should have known.
Right.
But to Rico's credit, I don't want this to turn into an anti-Rico tirade. Rico,
I like Rico now.
Yeah, Rico's he's long since turned a corner. I was about to say he turned a corner. That was a long time ago. He's been on the home stretch for a while. He's we can all change. Therapy. Get involved. Arian, what you got in your mind today? What you been thinking about and mulling over?
I had a thought because I got a chance to dissect and digest the Super Bowl halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was a great performance, man. I thought it was a great performance, man. And when you get to like really looking at all the like different elements in it, because like the day before when y'all we was talking about it, I only watched it like twice, and I was still a little faded from the night before. But I just think it was a really dope story that he was telling. And I think your take, PFT, is a really bad one. That's why I think it's a bad one, because your take was it was just 30 minutes of shitting on Drake. And that was like the exact opposite of what it was, right? He definitely mentioned Drake, and he had 2 songs that was talking about Drake. But the story that he was telling was basically saying, I know what I'm supposed to do while I'm up here, but I'm not going to do it. Right? That, and I think he's breaking away from his original catalog and starting something new, and he's doing what he wants to do now and not necessarily what he's supposed to do. And that was really powerful. And then he combined that with elements of like Black America and how the nation is divided, and what Uncle Sam, aka America, directs you to or wants you to do, and in that conformity. And he's breaking away from that. That was really dope to me. And I think that's the powerful thing about Kendrick, and why I love Kendrick, is his art always is telling a story. It's always, I was arguing with some motherfucker in my DMs the other day. This nigga tried to tell me that he did. I don't get it to him. Fuck him. But I just thought it was a really dope display of artistry, and I heard your thing. You was like he didn't play none of his hits, or he absolutely did. He played one of his biggest songs. He played a song that went double diamond, right? And I think that's the dope shit about what Kendrick does is he always puts these little Easter eggs in there, and it's just fun. It's fun to pick apart. And who's the Mighty Most Def said, like, if art doesn't make you think, then it's just advertisement. Love that. And I think that's what he aims to do. And I think if you didn't like it, then it wasn't for you. Not in a disrespectful way, but it's just like it was a niche performance. Like if you're a fan of this and this culture, then you loved it. But if not, it was like, who's this guy? What is he doing? But I thought it was a great performance. It was fantastic. Loved it. On top of that, rap is very different than singing, and you have to have like a certain amount of breath control. So Mans was running all across the field and rapping with no backtrack. That's crazy to me. That's dope.
So I agree with everything you just said. His performance, I thought, was really, really good. Mm-hmm. And I've grown to really appreciate Kendrick Lamar as an artist, especially in this past year. I'd listened to some of his stuff before. I knew he was very talented. I knew a lot of what he stood for in the artistry, but I didn't really get super into him until this last year. And I appreciate and respect everything he does as an artist. And I respect what he did at the halftime show. I thought he took a lot of chances, and it was like technically a very good performance. I thought that like what you said about Mos Def being like the difference between art and commercialism, all that stuff. But there's like a very caveman part of my brain that when I'm watching the Super Bowl, I'm just like, give me bangers and let me turn my brain off, because the Super Bowl, the entire thing is a celebration of like commercialization of American sport. And so like to flip your brain quick into artistry mode and then back into like grr, football, big sport, tough America mode is sometimes a little bit difficult for a lot of people to do.
No, I don't disagree, and I think that's to me why it's the perfect time to do something like that, and why it was so controversial. And upon further investigation, I didn't know this, man, because people started digging this stuff. Samuel L. Jackson was a Black Panther.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson was a Black Panther, and he went to, I think it was Morehouse. He went to Morehouse in Atlanta, which is a HBCU, and he was like super big into the Black Revolution in America. And he held protests. He held somebody at he held somebody captive as a protest to get more Black initiatives in Morehouse. And I think one of them was because they felt like it was his words too. He said they're making, okay, I'm paraphrasing now, but he said they're making docile Negroes in Morehouse, and he wanted more like revolutionary Black programs and stuff in Morehouse. And not only that, and so he was an usher at MLK's funeral. I didn't know that either. And so he's always had. I remember reading something about him, his role in Django, when Leonardo DiCaprio was struggling to say the N-word on set, and he was like, "It's tough." He's like, it's tough for you, man. He was like fucking with him. He's like, "It's tough for you, man." He's like, "Oh yeah." So it was Tuesday for me. Say the shit. Like he was just very like passionate about the entire project. And I always knew that part. I didn't know how big into activism he was. And so for him to step out and play Uncle Sam, it just made me a more fan of Samuel L. Jackson. It was really, really dope little rabbit hole going into that as well.
I did not know that. I'm looking it up right now. This looks like some crazy shit right here. So
yeah, he was
in 1969, he staged a protest by locking several board members in a room on campus, one of whom was Martin Luther King Sr.
Mm-hmm.
So he held Martin Luther King Sr. hostage in a boardroom after he had been, you said, an usher at MLK Jr.'s funeral.
Crazy, bro.
That's some wild shit.
Yeah, he was into it. Like, he was with the shits. And not only that, so to get on the biggest stage in front of probably the most controversial president in American history and say 40 acres and a mule is fucking fire to me. That's just amazing. So for people that don't know what 40 acres and a mule was, 40 acres and a mule is what was promised to the freed slaves in America for the labor against their will. So we were promised 40 acres and a mule, and that's why when people hear reparations now, they scoff at it and they say, "Get over it." With the whoop. America actually did promise black folks 40 acres and a mule, and they lied. It is what it is. But that was promise for restitution for slavery that never came. And so for him to get on stage and say 40 acres and a mule, and Spike Lee, if you know Spike Lee's production company is called 40 Acres and a Mule.
Yeah.
And so Spike Lee shouted it out. I think he saw Chirac and got a lot of inspiration from that. So it was dope. And that's what Kendrick does for me, is like there's so many little tidbits and he's very meticulous and it goes down like deep down like rabbit holes. And I don't know. That's what art is supposed to. For me, that's art, dog. Mm-hmm. That is what art is supposed to do. And I get I'm turning my brain off. I want to see some bangers. But for me, I love to be able to go back and every time you watch it, you get something new. That's the best part of art to me. Is every time I watch, I get something new, and it's something new. And on top of that, there was like his stage set was a PlayStation remote control, and that's why throughout the performance, there's like little tidbits that Samuel was talking about the game, deduct 1 point or deduct 1 life. It was really dope, man. That shit was fire to me.
And then he ended with game over, right?
Ended with game over. We turned the TV off.
I learned something the other day about reparations when it comes to Great Britain, because Great Britain did pay reparations in 1833. So they paid $20 million in exchange for ending slavery in its colonies. The catch was the money went to the slave owners. So that was the reparations that they paid at the time. So if you owned slaves, you got a cut from the English government, because they're like, hey, I know that you've been, using free labor, so your business is going to take a hit if you have to pay people now. So we're going to break you off a little something.
Yep. And that's why you'll hear a pocket of Black Americans always be like, give us reparations. I don't believe checks, will do anything. I think you'll be hard pressed to find somebody argue against the fact that the poor's neighborhoods have worse conditioned schools. And if there's a direct pipeline to good education, to less crime, less more opportunities in the job market, right? There is a direct correlation through good schooling and that. I think that reparations makes more sense in that vein to me. Refurbish the schools on American dollars. Refurbish all these schools, all these lower income schools. It don't gotta have to be just Black, but I mean they're disproportionately affected. That would be a great start to me. But
the craziest part is if you do, like Chicago has a history of redlining going way back, where it was like you were not allowed to get a home loan to buy a house if you were a Black person, and if you did get a home loan, it had to be in a certain neighborhood that was like defined by streets. It's like, this is the Black part of town. Values are not as high there. And so then that family can't then build equity in their home and end up selling their house in the future and passing that wealth down generation by generation. When I saw reparations, I was like, oh, that's crazy that England did reparations. No, it was to the people that owned the slaves that got it, which is just a bizarre twist that I did not see coming.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know that.
Also,
all in all, great performance. Fuck with it.
I just spilled body armor flash IV all over my laptop, so that's nice.
Damn, is you still cooking?
Do you want me to go grab paper towels?
I'm still cooking. I just used a Pogues t-shirt to wipe it down, so we should be good. We should be good to go.
Sure. You sure you don't want like a wipe or something?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. I got most of it. Almost all of it. I'm gonna have a very sticky keyboard, and people are gonna be like, "What have you been using this laptop for?"
What a professional you are! Yeah. Didn't even stop podcasting for a second.
The pod must go on.
I thought somebody came in. I was like, "Damn, not in the middle of the reparation speech." No,
no. I mean, that's a much longer discussion for a different episode, I think.
Thanks.
But it is something interesting to look into.
Yeah, man. So I want your take on this. PFT, because you've been traveling, and we've had different things going on. I feel like I want you to take on Elon right now.
Okay.
Elon is an interesting cat right now, dog. I just want to get your take on him. Like, what? It's a lot going on.
I have no idea how Elon has all these jobs. How many jobs does this dude have?
It's got a lot.
Tesla, Twitter,
Starlink,
Doge.
SpaceX.
So that's just 5 companies I can count right now. And underneath X.com, the Everything app, it's all happening on X. They also include like Grok and the AI stuff that he's working on there. But I'm just going to count that as one. So that's 5 different companies that he is in charge of right now. That to me says either being in charge of a company isn't very hard, or he's not doing a good job at 4 out of the 5 of those companies. Or maybe
which one is he doing well at?
I like what he's doing at SpaceX.
Okay.
Like, just from a technological standpoint, what he's doing at SpaceX is pretty incredible. Like, figured out a way to reuse rockets. And I know he's got very smart people working for him. It's not like Elon is, on the whiteboard, like breaking down equations and being like, here's how we do it. But whatever it's happening, he's in charge of it. Whatever SpaceX is up to, like, that's very impressive stuff. But yeah, he's got 4 other jobs at least. He's clearly using some sort of performance enhancing drugs. It seems like he's fucked up all the time on ketamine, I would imagine. But yeah, my take on Elon is I don't think that you should ever trust the richest person in the world to be in charge of the world. That seems like that's pretty logical, right?
It's wild to me that it seems like when they around, like Trump be taking a back seat. You know what I mean? It's weird. And I just find it hard to believe, not to get back into the Trump talk, but I just find it hard to believe that like this is all his initiative. It's like a team, like an administration. I like sometimes he be looking at these executive orders and he'll be like, "Huh, okay, fuck it, I'll sign it." Like he's never seen it before. They never talked about it. It's wild, dog.
Yeah, this is a big one right here. This is a big one. You can tell the ones that are like from his desk.
Right.
The straws, that was his.
Yeah,
that was a Trump.
He had him tweeted out on the POTUS account.
Yeah, pretty good. But yeah, in terms of what Elon's doing, I think Elon approaches the world with the same mindset that he has approached all of his startups and all of his companies, which is just like you have to be able to operate lean and agile, and go fast and break things. And if you break things, then you can fix them later. But it's a software mentality. In my very, very limited experience in the software industry, there's like a methodology called Agile, which is just like you break it off into little chunks, you go fast, you have small teams that work on things instead of having like 3 different project managers that all contribute their feedback and all have different things they want to accomplish through every development. You try to eliminate as many stakeholders as possible, and you try to make things quickly and have like one person that's in charge of it and go fast. And if you do something wrong, then you can go back and fix it later. I think it has worked for a lot of startups in terms of like growing a company from the ground up and getting a bunch of funding and making a lot of money. I don't know that it works for a country as a whole. So he seems to be taking that same startup software mentality to the country. And if you go fast and break things in a country, there's a lot of stuff that is not going to be easy to fix.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Got you.
And from Elon's perspective, he's been successful in the past when he's done this. So he sees this as the right way to operate, the right way to do things.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is like Republicans are like, yo, get rid of the bureaucracy. Right? That was their whole thing. Like this is bureaucracy. He's like calling shots as a billionaire. It's wild to me, dog. Like this is the exact opposite of this is the swamp. It's very confusing.
He's the CEO of America. I'd say Trump is the president and Elon is acting as CEO right now. But yeah, it's I think it's going to be tough there's a few things that are going to happen. One is he's going to break some stuff that is not easy to fix. That's going to have like real impact on people. And then 2, I think that there's a lot of Republican people in Congress that are seeing what he's doing and they're like, fuck, this is actually going to fuck me in terms of my reelection because he's firing a bunch of people that are my constituents and this is not good. I wish he wouldn't do this, but also I'm afraid to say anything because then I'll be painted as like an anti-Elon, anti-Trump person. And then that will also be bad for my reelection.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of Republicans that are like, this is not going well, what Elon's doing. But they probably like some of the stuff that he is doing. But then when it affects them and their issues, they're like, fuck, I wish he didn't do that.
This is the one thing I expect about the Republican Party is they are in lockstep. And it's the reason why they have power in all three chambers right now is because they're in lockstep. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they do. They're on the same page. And Democrats are so busy critiquing each other and themselves that we will never get the Democrats will never get a stronghold like this. And so because I feel like it was years ago, but when Joe Biden was president, all I heard was gas prices and egg prices, right? They're out of control now. But feels like what the marching orders right now from the Republican Party is, hey, it's okay. Like this is to be expected. And it's like they're okay with it. When it's another, they're not. But as Democrats, there's no univocal voice when it comes to shit like this. And as a far leftist, it made me rethink and reevaluate my position on criticizing the Democrats because it's like I'm always a believer of like baby wins are still wins, baby steps are still steps. But the Democratic Party is so divided that you can't rally around like the main thing. It's what establishment Dems were saying during the primaries. I mean, during the election. But like I said, I respect that about the Republican Party. They are in lockstep. They get their orders, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Fuck eggs, fuck gas.
Yeah. Republicans are very good at locking onto messaging and repeating that, and that's their battle cry. And Democrats are not good at that at all. It makes me wonder how Democrats ever win elections.
It'll be interesting going forward. I do think the turmoil from this administration will leak over into the next election, as it did in 2020, and get people riled up to vote again. But it won't be because of a candidate.
Yeah, and 2018 too, right?
Oh yeah, the blue wave.
Yeah, I was looking the other day at who is going to run for the Dems in 2028, right? That's the next election.
2026 is the midterms.
Midterms, but like for president.
Yeah.
And if you look down the list, there's not a whole lot of names that jump off the page at you.
That's incorrect. Stephen A. Smith jumps off the page.
Stephen A. Smith, yes. Okay, good point. Is he a Democrat?
Yeah.
I think
he's going to have to run as well.
I think in name he's a Democrat. I think he's just Stephen A. Smith.
Well, I mean, you got to pick one.
Listen, I think that Stephen A. Smith, there's probably a 33% chance that he will be president one day. I'm not joking.
You ask if he's a Democrat? I think he's a Democrat who could win.
I think he could win too. I actually believe there's a very good chance that he could win. And he keeps, you know what? He loves being asked if he's going to run. I think he would run if enough people keep asking him to run, because his answer is always like, I've never planned on it, but if the people want Stephen A. Smith, I'll give him Stephen A. Smith.
He would have an infinitely higher chance of winning the general election than getting there.
Yeah, I agree.
Than the Democratic Party allowing him to become the nominee.
I agree. I was talking to somebody at the Super Bowl about like Stephen A. Smith being president one day, and because the world is content now, right? Like everything. We want our politicians to be clippable and to have funny moments. There's nobody better than Stephen A. Smith at that. The White House press briefings would just be Bailey Carlin sending out a SpongeBob gif.
Oh my God.
Like when shit goes down. Shannon would have to be in the cabinet in some position. Maybe chief of staff. No, I think Skip is persona non grata. He'd exile Skip.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, he'd send Skip on assignment to he'd make him ambassador to probably somewhere that's like a little tough. Maybe ambassador to China.
That's kind of an important job.
Yeah. He'd probably work closely with LeBron, Carmelo, send Kyrie over to Ukraine. Stephen A. Smith as president, I feel like could happen.
No, I tweeted in the group. I was like, "Yo, this is happening." To me, he's the most viable candidate right now.
Yeah,
I don't say that. I say that reluctantly. I'm not like. It's just the depth. Like I think where politics is right now is like it's a populist movement. Like you have to have some kind of like rallying cry with the people. It's not because people don't vote on policy. Like I've given that up. People don't give a fuck about policy. It's about how can you get people excited to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Like and that would have a good couple primaries. Anything could happen.
I mean, him on stage with like 8 other Democrats would look a lot like Donald Trump on stage back in 2015 with like Rand Paul, Jeb Bush.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody can beat Stephen A. Smith in a debate.
No, hell no. Especially if he's halfway rational.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
I do think Gavin Newsom does a real good job in debates. He did. Who did he debate? Was it Ted Cruz?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he does a good job. I think, but he kind of botched the Palisade fires, and so people, especially from California, are kind of over him.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I still think he's probably the best Dem candidate right now. But other than that, it's Slim Pickens.
What I like about him is he has friends all across the aisle. So he goes on Hannity a lot and talks to Hannity. So people on Fox News, they know him, they like him. He'll talk to anybody, and he will answer any question. Like it doesn't matter. You can talk to him about Toy Story 3. Oh, I saw him like debating Cars one day, the movie Cars.
What was the take?
I forget. They were asking about one character in particular, whether they had the clutch gene or something stupid like that. And he can talk.
Did you ask the question?
I did not ask that question, no. But yeah, Stephen A. Smith, I think if enough people tell him.
Hot take, Cars 2 is the best out of the series. I don't know if y'all are into the Cars series, but it's the spy movie one. That shit was fire. And people from the Cars universe don't really like that one, and I don't understand it. Cars 2 was fire.
You know, there was a Cars Hitler and Cars 9/11.
There's a what?
Well, in the Planes movie, there's a TSA-like agency, which implies a 9/11 in the Cars universe. And then there's also I think his name is Sarge, the World War II Humvee, which implies that there was likely a Cars Hitler as well.
Makes sense.
Is there anything that implies a Cars JFK?
I'm not sure.
And if so, was that a car that was riding in the backseat of another car?
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Like planes, are they? I don't know how does that work?
I don't know. Yeah, I saw a tweet a long time ago of a dude smoking weed, and he goes, "Does Lightning McQueen have car insurance or life insurance?"
It's a good question.
Yeah, in planes, like were there planes that were getting onto a bigger plane that then hijacked that plane?
Yeah, I never saw it. I'm not sure, but
these are the questions we need the answers to.
Yeah.
And if there was a Cars JFK, like what is the life story of the car that had car JFK in the back of it?
I mean, if there was a Cars 9/11, that implies there might have been a Cars George W. Bush.
Yep.
So.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know this. Maybe y'all did, but they're saying the FBI found thousands of JFK assassination records.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like 14,000 or something.
Where we at with it? Y'all thumb through them?
I don't think they're out yet.
Yeah, so they said that they just discovered them, which my brain perked up when I heard that. I was like, wait, so they just found these documents?
Maybe they were in that limestone mine for the last 60 years.
They might have been, yeah. What was it on, page 47 in National Treasure? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Oh, in the Book of Secrets?
Yeah, the Book
I'm
of
not
Secrets.
sure.
So yeah, they just so happened to find 14,000 documents that I'm sure will throw the whole release of the documents into like a tailspin. They'll be like, well, we just found these that say that, it was just Lee Harvey Oswald. Crazy. So yeah, let's release these.
Do you think any document exists that implies or implicates like the government at all?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
And you think that's on a government document?
I don't think that the CIA field agent filled out a report like, what did you do today?
Right.
Oh, I dropped off this rifle with a Cuban exile.
But you think there are, after the fact, we have documents that say, yeah, we did it.
I don't think they say, yes, we did it. I think that there will be documents that are revealed that show the investigation after the assassination, where they interview people who are associated with the government that have holes in their story or have things that people point at and be like, look, this guy, he's suspicious. They didn't believe his testimony. They didn't take that.
That makes sense.
I think if anything, we're going to get like new conspiracies out of it. I don't think that he's going to release it and it's going to be like, okay, it was the head of the CIA and George H.W. Bush that did it. I think that we're going to have a whole bunch of names that maybe we didn't even know about beforehand, and then people will look into them, and there'll be 20 new theories about what could have happened.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I just wanted to ask, though, if I told you right now, in 2028, you could have one of Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, or Stephen A. Smith, who would you take?
I don't know anything about Stephen A. Smith's policy.
I think he's the correct answer out of
I don't know any. I think he's probably amongst those the most likely to win.
I think so too.
But I don't know shit about like what he actually believes in terms of here's my vision for the country. But I think he is.
That's a great answer, PFT. I love that.
Yeah, if you're talking just based on vibes, who would be which presidency would be more entertaining and fun?
I think in the last couple years, as he's steered more into politics, he's laid out a pretty good landscape of his worldview.
Has he?
But
he would have to take definitive stances.
Sure, yeah. Like I don't think he's done 45 minutes on Palestine, but I think he's made some stances pretty clear.
Like in regards to Kevin Durant, yes. Like I know where he stands on things like that, like the play-in game or the play-in tournament.
I think in the last 6 months in particular, he is started to, journey into that.
Yeah, I still don't know enough about him. I've seen him talk about things like off the top of his head. I don't know if I disagree or agree with more of what he says, but he is definitely the most likely. I'd say him, and then the other name I was looking at as potentially running then is the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore.
I've seen him. He seems pretty likable.
So this guy, Wes Moore, it's like his entire life he's been dead set on a course to become president one day. So he went to West Point. He was a Rhodes Scholar. He served in Afghanistan, I believe. He is the direct descendant of somebody who fought in the Revolution. So he's a member of the Sons of the Revolution. His like great grandfather was an African American soldier who fought with, I want to say, the Massachusetts Bay Colony in the Revolution. That seems like that guy was just born to be president, right? Like everything.
Have you seen him practice with the Maryland football team?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
That's what I've seen him from. He went to a Maryland football practice and put on full pads and practiced with the team.
Was he good?
I mean, as good as a governor could do, I guess.
Okay. Was he better or worse than Rob Ford?
I haven't seen Rob Ford do any athletic activity, but I'm going to guess considerably better.
Oh, buddy. Big T.
What did Rob Ford do?
You need to look up Rob Ford playing football when he was the mayor of Toronto. There was one play where he dropped back to pass, and he pulled his right arm back and just fell directly backwards.
All right, that's what I'm on.
Onto his head. I think he stiff-armed some kids, too. Like a mascot, like Blooper.
It's always a win. I love seeing that shit.
All right, he's making... Oh, and down goes Rob.
Yeah.
And then he would have fallen a second time if this guy didn't grab him.
Yeah.
I mean, lineman stepped on his foot.
Is that what it
happens,
was?
yeah.
Or he was high on crack.
Could be.
Yeah, probably. Probably
that.
was. But yeah, this dude Wes Moore, he's also going to be heavily involved in the bidding for the next Commanders stadium. So I think he's going to try to get the Commanders to stay in Maryland. If he does, then that'll be like a big win for him. And then people in Maryland will love him, and he'll be like, okay, now I'll run for president. I think there's a good likelihood of that.
Washington Post today. Can the Maryland governor energize the Democratic Party?
Oh, here we go. I did not read that. I was looking him up a couple days ago because I actually have a theory. You want to hear PFT's prediction for 2025.
Prediction FT.
I hope it doesn't happen just because it'll throw everything that I've been hoping to happen into major jeopardy. I may have told you this. I don't know if I said it on the air. The Commanders are trying to move back to RFK Stadium, right? That piece of land that's in D.C. It's the perfect location for a football stadium. It was the location for the stadium for a long time. It's got transit that goes in and out. It's right in D.C. It's the perfect venue for it. There was a bill that was passed, I want to say in November, at the very last second, because it was part of the omnibus bill originally. It's controlled by the federal government, the land, and they have to loan it or authorize it to the D.C. Council if anything wants to happen on it. So they finally turned over authority of it to the D.C. City Council, who then gets to negotiate with the teams and say, here's what you can build on it. Here's our authorization to go ahead and put a new stadium there. But it is technically owned by the federal government. It then gets leased over in like a 99-year lease. It's very complicated. It's stupid bullshit. But the bill got passed back in November where they did turn it over to the D.C. City Council, who then gets to decide if the Commanders can build a stadium there. However, my prediction is if somebody tells Donald Trump that that land is technically federal land, I predict Donald Trump will try to revoke the rights to that land from the D.C. City Council and say we'll only allow this to happen if they change the name back.
Interesting.
I feel very confident that that could happen if somebody tells Donald Trump that that land belongs to them.
Do you think the team would do it?
I don't think so. I don't think they would because they don't want to be caught in the middle of a culture war.
Right.
I think that
at least the logo. I'm down with the logo.
And I think they'll bring the logo back because I think that's part of the negotiation that they've had with the Blackfeet tribe, where it's like, okay, you can use the logo, and there's like a monetary exchange there, but they don't want the name back. The Blackfeet tribe does not want the name back. I don't think Josh Harris wants to get involved in the culture war of, okay, we're bringing this back, et cetera, et cetera.
That's so funny.
And also, if Maryland offers a big package to the Commanders and says, we'll give you X amount of dollars, and it's more than what DC is offering, and DC is offering the best piece of real estate for it, but also goes along with you have to do this rebrand back to the old name. I think Josh Harris will be like, I'll just take more money from Maryland and build the new stadium in Maryland. And I hope that doesn't happen.
I liked football team.
Yeah,
the Washington football team was fire. I like that name.
Too many teams are starting to do that now. Like the Utah hockey team might just be the Utah Hockey Club, I think. Like you got to have a name. Got to have a name.
I like that too. Hockey club.
That's a soccer thing.
It's like default. I love that.
But like that's why we've established in America you have to have a team name. That's our thing.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it.
Also, that's our thing.
Madeline McKenzie do not.
Well, like in Europe, the soccer teams are just like Barcelona FC, like. So they don't have like a.
They don't have a mascot.
Most of them don't. Some of them like have an unofficial thing. Like Brentford is the Bees, but like that's not. They're just the Brentford Football Club. But like here we are the Atlanta Falcons or the New York Knicks, whatever.
I like the football team. Yeah. I fuck with it. But go back to the old logo and the old uniforms. Sweet. Give me that old thing back.
What could they name the team with that logo that isn't Redskins?
I think they'd probably just keep Commanders.
But that doesn't fit the logo.
Warriors. Washington Warriors.
Warriors could work.
Yeah. But Mad Dog McKenzie, please do not clip that prediction because I'm hoping that nobody tells Trump that because he will do that.
And you don't want that getting to him.
I want that stadium for the team. I think it'd be awesome to have that piece of land for the team. And that would
just doing your part.
That would throw everything into turmoil.
What if there's a staffer that listens to this show that then tells him and he gives PFT commenter credit?
Do not.
When it happens.
Do not. Do not do that. If there's a staffer that listens to it, if you do that, okay, I will allow this because I care about the future of the world more than I care about the future of where my football team plays.
Bold.
If you tell Trump that it's on city land because you just heard it or that's on federal land because you heard it from me, and you feel like that could be a win, you also have to tell him that the Gaza Strip Trump hotel is the worst idea in the history of ideas.
And I'm not clipping any of this.
And don't clip any of it. Yeah.
Nope.
I will allow that to happen. I will make that trade.
Okay.
If we do not put American property or lives or troops in the Gaza Strip, then that to me that seems like a good deal.
If all of this happened, came to fruition, and he invited you to the White House as a guest of honor to unveil the new stadium and new team, would you go?
If he also invites me to the White House to say we're not going to fuck with the Gaza Strip, and
okay, let's say that's already happened.
We're not going to be
Or
involved.
that he already said, okay, fine, that's out.
Removing Palestinians and sending them to all these other countries in the Middle East. If they want to go home, they can go home.
So if that's off the table, you would go and be the guest of honor.
If I'm also at the other ceremony.
Okay.
That says we're going to try to work out a two-state solution and have the West Bank and Gaza Strip governed by the same body.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I just solve the entire Middle East crisis?
Maybe.
Damn.
And we can't even clip it.
And we can't even clip it until after the fact. In which case, I will take a victory lap for doing peace in the Middle East. I think that's important. All right. Anything else we want to get into before we talk about the Zizians?
Yeah, I need Madeline and Mackenzie to explain something to me.
I think I know what you're going to ask.
What is this show where this guy just has to keep watching
Montoya.
allegedly his girlfriend just get railed by other dudes and they make him sit there and watch?
So, yeah.
But now I'm seeing that
Montoya.
he's doing it as well.
Okay, so this clip originated from the Spanish version of Temptation Island. And
Great show.
Temptation Island is a show where supposedly strong couples go to this island, and it's basically Love Island where it's just a ton of hot people, and they have these couples there, and then they place hot single horny people there. And basically they're taunting you to get you to hook up with them and cheat on your partner. And if you don't cheat on your partner, you win the game at the end. Like, you win the money. So, with that concept in mind, Montoya, who is the man in one of these couples, was caught originally getting a lap dance or twerked on by one of the hot singles. And his girlfriend got very upset because she was like, oh my gosh, he cheated on me. This is also through all context clues because I don't speak Spanish.
Quick thing. Temptation Island, there's no money prize. I've watched like almost every season. I watched the original Temptation Island, like from the 90s or early 2000s. Temptation Island is fire. So what it is couples who are on the brink and they're like, yo, do I want to continue with this relationship or do I not want to continue this? They'll go there and they say, hey, I'm like one partner or two or both are skittish. And they'll say, okay, I think that this is strong enough and I want to test our relationship. I trust you, you trust me, and this will solidify if we want to move forward and go with it. And so they separate the couples, all the girls and all the guys, they separate them, and then they bring in singles to the separate islands. And that's when, and so like they'll do like, same reality shit. They'll do challenges, they'll do things, parties, drinking. And so you have like, Big T, your shorty's on the other island. Do you want to see a clip of what's going on? You can opt in or opt out. Most people opt in, and they show like little highlights of what's going on with your significant other. Sometimes it's chill. Sometimes they get worked on. Sometimes they get worked on. You know what I mean?
So you win the show by doing nothing.
No, it's not. It's not winning or losing the show. It's
but
like
that's the idea.
Do I leave? No, the idea is do I leave this island with the person I came with or somebody else? That's the idea.
Okay.
Do I continue in this relationship or is there other fish in the sea?
Like
so
an ultimatum.
So there is not a winner necessarily.
But
I was wrong there.
But the winning move would be you do nothing and leave with your
Original
partner.
Yeah, you end up rooting for people who resist the temptation and are solid and be like, no, I want you're a good looking lady, whatever the case, but like I got a thing over there. You know what I'm saying? you're not rude, and you end up rooting for those kind of people. And what usually happens is somebody be looking thick, Big T, and it just is what it is. You can't.
So Montoya got a lap dance.
So
and
he
then-
started it.
Yes.
Oh,
but then,
okay.
Not necessarily.
But
That
not
could have been. We
necessarily-
don't know. We don't know. That could have been because, in my experience, every couple goes there with certain boundaries. Hey, I don't mind you getting dances, or hey, I don't like no physical touch. Like it's a boundary that we set, and since we don't speak Spanish, we don't know what their boundaries was. But from his
From what the
reaction.
reaction is, it seems a boundaries. So he got twerked on in some degree. Then his girlfriend, he saw on the camera getting, how do I put this lightly?
Plowed.
Yes.
That's the exact verb I was going to use as well.
Yes. And so then that's where like he's like ripping his clothes off, and he's literally watching his girlfriend get plowed, and he's like tearing his clothes off, and he's screaming, and again I don't know what he's saying, but it's very, very upsetting. And then he starts sprinting down the beach, and the host is yelling, "Montoya, por favor!" And that's where it comes from. And it's just this guy sprinting down the beach trying to stop his girlfriend from getting railed. And then it's this whole thing of the sex is so aggressive that we're watching.
very
And
jackrabbity.
Yes. And so that's what is also part of the virality of it is like, who is that, like, who's doing that? So, yeah. And then there's just clips that keep coming out of it getting like worse and worse and more humiliating. And so that is Montoya.
You think he's the only one?
No, I'm sure he's not the only one, but his girlfriend and whoever she's hooking up with are going to town in a way that I didn't know was physiologically possible. And then
Man's ran to the other island.
and Montoya's reactions to this are crazy. And it's also the fact that like Montoya is literally watching on the screen his own girlfriend have sex.
The
with someone else.
craziest part is I don't know if they edited this in a way that it could have been different. He didn't even see the plowing.
No.
He ran away before the plowing even started.
He saw them making
so he
out.
was like he was running because they were like kissing
Yeah.
and sleeping in the bed together.
He didn't even
And,
see
like-
the jackhammering.
Like they went so quick that he basically made it back to the resort running like before they even started plowing.
yeah.
Just a good general rule of thumb is if you and your girlfriend, significant other get invited to go on a reality show together, you should say no.
Yeah.
Or you should break up because
Or,
if you're
yeah.
getting asked to go on the show
Yeah.
and it's already over.
Or if
Yeah.
you want to go on this show, like, call it quits. But yeah, so then this just keeps happening. And he just keeps seeing clips, and then we keep seeing these clips.
Poor Montoya.
You know
Montoya.
the tweet that was like, my not involved in human trafficking shirt is garnering a lot of questions already answered by the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
This is my girlfriend getting plowed by strangers on the Girlfriend Getting Plowed by Strangers show.
Yeah. Who could have seen that coming?
And
Not,
also,
not
and it-
dissimilar to Arian's tweet from the other day.
Oh yeah. It feels good to wake up and having
No
not
murders.
murdered somebody last night. Shout out to all my fellow innocent people.
Hey, that's a great feeling, dog. And then all of a sudden, are you a murderer? Like I just fucking told you I wasn't. But like, I had a dream that I was playing in some game, football game, and afterwards, a couple of the homies, we didn't like somebody. I don't know who it was. I don't know what the mission was, but we popped them, and then they got really sloppy. In the dream, they didn't cover the evidence. They didn't, whatever. And then the police was on my trail. I was like, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail for murder. And that feeling of you going to jail for murder and your life is over is a horrible feeling. Only felt it in a dream. But when you wake up and you realize, fuck, I'm a good dude. This is going to be a great day. It's a great feeling, dog. Great feeling.
I understand the sentiment where you're in hot water in your dream and you're like, oh shit, I didn't do that. That's cool.
It's amazing.
But it sounded like you were trying to cover your tracks when you tweeted that out. Did not another
to
night
to the feeble mind.
extending my streak. This now makes 7,000 mornings I've woken up.
It does
not a
seem
murder.
like you should have included in there. This was in my dream, by the way.
Yeah.
No, he said
I got cameras in my house and I ain't left in a minute. All my alibis are safe, and I have no reason to murder anybody. I'm a wealthy man. I have a good life. Not into murder.
Yeah, rich people don't kill.
I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested. Straight line.
I can't think of another famous NFL running back that's been very successful that has ever been accused of murder.
Did he lead the league in rushing one year? I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Had to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you play at the
Wait,
same
who-
time as him?
Oh, that's very disrespectful.
Who are y'all?
Mad Dog just asked you.
Was that a real question?
Yes,
Wait.
that was a real question.
What was the question?
If you ever played at the same time as OJ.
Oh wait, I wasn't thinking of OJ.
Who did you think we were talking about?
Aaron Hernandez.
Not a running back.
Oh, sorry.
Did
That's
play at the same time as Aaron
Yeah,
Hernandez,
okay.
I think.
I did, yeah.
yeah.
I
Okay,
played
that's
against
what I
him
was thinking of.
2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Sorry, no, not OJ.
Okay,
I played
fair
against him.
enough.
I played against him in college too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He was a
not
dog
OJ. I
then.
promise.
he was really good. Very good player.
He'd have been a Hall of Fame if it wasn't a murderer.
Yeah.
But he is.
But, you know.
Fair enough.
That's what
Allegedly.
it is. No, no.
OJ still was.
As he should have been. I mean, I think there's a difference between Aaron Hernandez and OJ. OJ was
2014.
Hey, bro, OJ was a bad man. I'm just saying.
He was.
OJ
But he
man.
was a bad man.
On and off the field.
Allegedly.
Different ways. I don't know if there's
Allegedly.
people who defend OJ more than this podcast sometimes.
I don't defend OJ. I defend his football legacy. It was amazing. Like, it was amazing. Like,
He was very
you don't
good.
understand. He was fucking wildly better than everyone else. Like, unreal.
You murder and people forget.
My great
Like,
uncle.
I was hype. I'm gonna let you get it off, Big T.
Okay.
I was so hype because in 2010, I think I got second, but since the first NFL game of the opening kickoff, I think I was the only player since OJ to have like 200 plus rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, and I think he had like 250, and I was like, oh, that's wild, that's dope, because OJ's different, man. It's different.
My
different,
great uncle went to UCLA at the same time that OJ was at USC, and he was like, it was nobody understands how unbelievable he was. Like, he said he was the best football player he'd ever seen still.
Yes, like, I mean, there's a reason why they were so sympathetic to him driving down the freeway at 30 miles an hour, trying to slowly convince him not to. You know, like, they gave him so much grace during that entire thing because it was OJ. OJ was different. Like, OJ was different.
He was also a good actor.
He not only that, he crossed a lot of color lines too in America with his acting.
Yeah.
So he was like a lot of people's introduction to like Black America. And so that's why he thought he wasn't black. That's why Jay-Z had that line. He said, "I'm not black, I'm OJ."
Mhm.
Okay. Yep. But OJ was bad, though.
3,100 yards and 33 touchdowns in 2 seasons at USC.
Boy was bad, man.
If you ever see, was it the Naked Gun movies that he was in?
Yeah.
He was very funny in those. Like, legitimately good actor.
He's good. Good at what he did, man.
Yep.
In all aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got off. So
Good defendant.
it's facts.
All right, you guys want to get to the Zizians?
Oh, last thing.
Yep.
My daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, pimped me into getting a turtle. So I now have a turtle.
Oh my God.
2 hosts with a turtle. What are the odds?
Yeah.
So we was chilling. My mom's in town. We was all chilling for the Super Bowl. My daughter, they all know I don't like pets. I don't like dogs. I don't like cats. I don't like none of these. And she finds a turtle in my backyard. It's tiny. So it's like a baby turtle. And she finds it and she comes to me with the sweetest story and the sweetest face and those little eyes. Can I please keep it? Her name's Tina the Turtle.
That's a good name.
And I was like, she's like, I already washed it off. She used my toothbrush.
Aw.
She took my toothbrush, scrubbed his, he was all washed off. or she. Actually, I don't know the gender, and so I was just look. I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no. So I ended up ordering an aquarium from Amazon. I got the aquarium with the rocks and the water and the lights and the everything. So there's now a fucking turtle upstairs in an aquarium named Tina the Turtle.
Aw.
That's adorable.
That's so sweet.
It is. Yeah.
I could figure out the gender of your turtle.
Let's do it here. I'll send you a video.
Can you send me I need to see a video of the underside
Perfect.
because I thought that I had a male turtle, and then we had a wildlife expert on, and he was like, "No, that's a female." He told me how you could tell.
How difficult is it to tell?
I can try to do it. All I know is that the underside of a male turtle is concave.
So it's not apparent.
No, I would probably need to see like a male and a female next to each other, and I could tell which one was the male. But the male, in order to mount the female when they're boning, when they're plowing, has to have the concave shell so that the top
Interesting.
shell of the female turtle fits into it nicely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just sent the video of the turtle to the group chat.
Okay, let me see if I can sex this turtle real quick.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. Sexing a turtle.
I kind of like him.
Let's
Or
see.
her.
Well, my daughter is convinced it's a girl, so she called her Tina the Turtle.
This,
But I don't know.
this might be a female.
How much bigger is it supposed to get?
Couldn't. I tell you what, Big T, I don't know shit about turtles.
Because I like it now that it's small, but I wouldn't want a big turtle.
What's considered a big turtle? Like that's
I
not a
don't
sea
know.
turtle, so it ain't gonna get like.
Well,
It's
obviously,
like a box turtle. It'll get like to the size of my hands.
They
Yeah, it's too
googled like
big.
what kind it was and everything, and they figured out what kind it was, but I don't remember that shit.
It's a very clean turtle.
She cleaned them or
Yeah.
her cleaned them.
That's a testament to your toothbrush.
Hey, telling you what, man, I think I got the best toothbrush in the game.
Sure looks
Oh,
like
I
it.
found out like so you're supposed to do it once you're supposed to change your toothbrush once a month, and I thought you're supposed to change it way more than that.
No, I thought it's every 3 months, and you said, "Oh, I thought it was way more than that."
Was it 3?
Yeah.
I thought it was 1.
way more than
I
once a
took it.
month. That's nuts.
Yeah. No, I think it's every 3 months, and you said, "Oh,
How's
I
it
change it every
nuts?
month."
To change your toothbrush way more than once a month?
I change mine every 3 months.
I change mine like every month.
Every
I
month?
think.
That seems like a
Yeah.
lot.
I don't know.
Yeah, changing it once a month seems like a lot to me. I like my
No, I got
toothbrush seasoned.
I don't have like an electrical like where you change the head. There's these Oral-B they come with the vibrator in it, and they come in like 2 packs, and they're like, I don't know, $8. Those to me have been my best toothbrushes. The bristles are really hard and stiff, and they get the job done really really well. And so like I just noticed they wear out, and if I feel like it's not new, I just don't feel like to do the job.
Mm-hmm. I've got into the water pick.
But y'all
game.
also don't wash your legs, so I don't really
I've been scrubbing my feet recently.
didn't say shit about your legs.
Scrubbing those tootsies. Almost fell over in the shower the other day because I scrubbed one foot, then I stood on that foot, and it was still a little bit slippery from the soap, and I was like, "This is
Yeah,
some
you gotta
dangerous shit."
like rub it. You gotta rub it to get the soap off in order to continue your stand.
Yeah, I was like, "This would be
Yeah.
quite a way to die if they just found my body in the shower because I slipped trying to bathe my feet."
Last thought was fucking Arian.
Yep. All right, you guys want to talk about the Zizians?
Do it.
Zizian death cult. So there have been 3 murders, and it's ongoing right now. They're trying to track everybody down. There's been 3 murders over the course of about 2 years, and the people involved have been involved in a movement called the Zizians. They call themselves a rationalist movement. So a lot of them are, they heavily are involved in the AI field. They're computer scientists. Many of them are vegan. At least 2 are transgender. They're being called a death cult because they've been linked to a bunch of murders, but they are involved in the rationalist movement. They're obsessed with the mental exercise, which we've talked about on the show, Rocco's Basilisk. Remember that one, Big T?
I remember the name.
That is the question of if one day there will be an AI overlord that is in charge of governing the world and optimizing the world, and it gets so powerful that it can see back in time, then it could go back in time and punish the people that did not work to make the AI system appear in the first place. Right? So if there's an AI system that governs everything, and it's like, okay, you have to optimize the entire world, that also at some point would entail being able to go back in time, and part of optimizing the world would be to ensure that people that were working to invent it in the first place were able to do so without people that were fighting it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So these people in this death cult are obsessed with that problem. They're led by a 34-year-old transgender woman named Ziz. She also calls herself the Sith, and she wears like dark robes and calls herself like the leader of the movement. She is the head of it. She says, as a Sith, I'm religiously required to do whatever I want, and for now, that so happens to include wearing black robes. So she got big back in 2019 because she was talking about philosophical issues, gender theory, trans identity, technology, morality, on her blog called Sinceriously. The blog is offline now. They've taken it down.
What a cold name.
Yeah, Sinceriously, good name.
That's a dope name.
Yep. So she has a theory that the human brain, obviously we have a left brain and a right brain. And she thinks that the different brains might each have a different gender, and they often try to kill each other. She also believes that you can turn half of your brain off to sleep at any given time, so you don't need to fall asleep. You can just, your right brain will fall asleep for a little bit, and then that wakes up, and then you can turn your left brain off, and that can sleep, but you don't have to actually be asleep with both brains at the same time.
Okay.
Following?
Yeah, the idea.
Okay, so in November 2019, they drove into the woods in Sonoma County, and they blocked the exits from a retreat that the retreat was being hosted by a nonprofit rationalist organization, the Center for Applied Rationality. They were dressed up in their hoods, their robes, their masks. They got arrested, and they were passing out flyers accusing the center and another Berkeley-based rationalist group, the Machine Intelligence Research Institute, of betraying them. They said the Machine Intelligence Research Institute is violating basic principles of friendliness. They missed the rapidly oncoming global catastrophic threat of fascism. The flyer said trans women were being discriminated against despite being naturally inclined or gifted in the mental tech development. So first and foremost, they subscribe to rationalism, but like a weird, distorted, bastardized version of rationalism. And it's kind of like ends justify the means, and everything that they do has to be in further of developing a benevolent artificial intelligence service that will one day come to rule the entire world. So that's kind of how they think. They believe in timeless decision theory, which is a rationalist belief suggesting human decisions and their effects are mathematically quantifiable. So what they're really good at is committing crimes. They have like this big belief system that they have in place, which makes complete sense to them, which is develop AI, protect AI, work to ensure the future of AI. And everything they do should be in further that goal. But their crimes are just all very personal and at sometimes like haphazard and random in nature. And then they'll go back and they'll defend those crimes by being like, it's because we wanted AI to work out. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Manson cult, where they found a place that they could all stay for not a lot of money. It was with a very elderly landlord out in Northern California. And they weren't paying much in rent, but then they just decided to stop paying rent, and they were living on this dude's property, and they were like 2 months behind on rent. The landlord came to them, tried to collect, and they said, no, you can't. If you take money from us, that's less money than that we'll have to spend on AI. So they attacked him with a sword. They cut his eye. They stabbed him through his chest. The guy, the landlord, who was like, I think 82 at the time, responded by shooting 2 of them, killing one of them, injuring the other. The landlord survived the attack, even though he got stabbed through his chest by a fucking samurai sword.
Badass.
82?
Badass dude, yeah. Old guy. Killed one of them, and then there was going to be a trial for the other that ended up getting killed. They're going to charge that guy with murder, too, because his buddy got killed during this thing. And then that kind of ended up spiraling out of control. So Ziz has been arrested a few times.
But then the landlord ended up getting killed later, right?
Right. So at first, the landlord killed one of them, but survived the attack. And then when it came time for the trial, I believe the landlord then ended up getting killed because he was the witness
Right.
to everything. So their rationalism in them was like, well, we need to kill this guy because if he testifies against us, then they will end up sending our people to jail. Then we can't create this AI system down the road. So ends justify the means. Got to kill this guy. The vegan Sith ideology that they prescribe to is basically, it's kind of what it sounds like. Dress up in robes and don't eat any animals whatsoever. So I believe they are all vegan. Yeah, that's one of the things that you have to commit to being in this cult of the Zizians. So there's a woman named Jessica Taylor. She was a former research fellow at that organization, the Machine Intelligence Research Institute, that the Zizians don't like. Said that she met Lasota, which is Zizian's original name, and others who believe in the Ziz theory through the Berkeley rationalist scene around 2016.
This has a whole scene?
There's a scene of rationalism.
I mean, Berkeley seems like where there would be a scene for this.
I think Berkeley and Silicon Valley in general, like the tech bros that are trying to, they think that they're living in the year 3000, essentially, and they're creating things that will completely change the world and will be able to expand and upload your consciousness to the cloud and all this shit. I think there's a lot of people that are futurists that subscribe to rationalism that live in Northern California. And these are kind of like the Berkeley offshoot of it. She said that they adopted the most extreme versions of ideas shared by people in the community. They're just very intense. There's the 2 hemispheres, which could sometimes they describe those as being divided into male and female, but usually non-good, single good, or double good hemispheres of your brain. So you have like one bad side, one good side. Sometimes you have 2 bad sides to your brain, but it's very, very rare that a human will have double good, where both hemispheres of the brain are good. What do you think Ziz describes herself as? It is very rare. Like, nobody has this.
I'm gonna take a guess that Ziz is double good.
Ziz is, yes.
Right.
Ziz, which makes her special, which means that she's the leader of the cult. So she argues for enforced altruism towards all living creatures and that you should never surrender.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Except the ones that we're gonna kill.
Yeah, well, those are, if there's somebody that's going to be killed, can you guess what their brain status
They're
is?
double bad.
They're non-good, double
Or-
non-good,
yeah.
So it's basically like whoever she doesn't like, non-good, bad brains, kill that person.
Now, does it say how to decipher how one's brain is labeled? Like double good, regular good, bad, bad?
Yeah, it's who they decide they don't like.
Yeah, just logically, I think you got to go to Ziz for that question.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you have to go to the leader and be like, which one am I?
Yeah, and then since Ziz is double good, then Ziz can accurately pick up on those cues and tell them, oh, that person's half. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that a lot of the members of the cult are single good, and they have the potential to become double good if they follow everything
under the leadership
of Ziz. And then if they go against the leadership of Ziz, then Ziz will be like, well, you're no longer single good. You might just be non-good now.
That's a list you don't want to find yourself on.
You definitely do not. Yeah. So they, like I said, they believe that their decisions are mathematically quantifiable. So like what you have for breakfast, is that in further of our goals? Well, let's see. You had eggs for breakfast. That means that you're harming this number of chickens through how much you paid for the cost of your eggs, and that is a net negative on the world. So now you had a non-good breakfast. Oh, you grew your own beans for the last 6 months and you ate your beans for breakfast. That's good. You have a lot of work to do, but I think now you're single good. So she said that she had a strong impulse to self-immolate rather than have sex after her values were forcibly modified by hypothetical collective decision, lending moral legitimacy by allowing the civilization that did it the ability to say, look, things aren't that bad, you're enjoying it. So sounds like maybe asexual. Ziz desired that she would rather set herself on fire than have sex. And she was living as an anchor out on a boat in Half Moon Bay when she first met Curtis Lind in 2018 or 2019. So they were just kind of living on a boat in the middle of the water. And then in August 2022, Ziz faked her own death. So
I've always wanted to do that.
yeah. So how do you go about faking your own death? What have you given any thought to how it could be pulled off?
You got to secure your funds. You have to create the scene, right? And I think you have to have. I think the best would be like an alibi. So like the best way I've seen it done was in the movie Life, where two dudes was in an old people home, and they started a fire, but they got two bodies from the morgue. So by the time they switched the bodies, and so by the time the authorities arrived, they was like, oh, these two dudes, they stayed in their bed, got burnt up, unidentifiable.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, out of there, and then they could just live the rest of their lives. Something like that. You have to create a distraction, a diversion, and you have to think out where, like, how to dispose of or get another body in place of your body.
I think the easiest way would be twins.
That's in what's the name of that Blake Lively Anna Kendrick movie? Simple Favor. Yeah.
It's also in The Night Agent. Streaming on Netflix.
Have you watched season 2?
No, just season 1.
When does that happen in season 1?
Like one of the main bad guys. He was a twin.
I've forgotten. I started to watch season 2. It was not doing it for me.
I'll say season 1, it firmly falls into the category of so bad it's good for me.
I disagree with that, but
Was this the one that Big T?
Yeah.
Yeah, PFT didn't like it, but
I watched the entire thing. It's so bad it's good.
But after watching, I didn't even finish season 2. I only watched the first like 3, and it just wasn't doing it for me.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
but yeah,
which was very disappointing for me.
Twin seems like the easiest way to do it. If your twin is killed, then you switch IDs, and you're like, oh, I'm dead. That was my body. But I'd imagine if you're identical twins, somebody will ask that question at some point.
It's got to be an unknown twin.
Yeah, secret twin.
Off the beaten path, which is Simple Favor.
Secret twin. I think a boat is probably a good way to do it too, because if you're on a boat and they never find your body, they assume that it fell into the ocean. And then move to a different country, paying cash.
Seems like a lot of work.
It does.
And then it's also like a crime. So then if you get caught, like...
Is it a crime?
I think in order to do it, you have to commit a bunch of crimes. Like fraud and all sorts of other stuff.
Though the story appears to be quickly losing steam, we began to wonder, would it be illegal for Andy Kaufman faked his own death?
Some people said that, yeah.
There are no laws against faking your own death.
But to do it correctly, you would have to commit a bunch of crimes.
Yeah, you'd have to commit fraud. Living under a new name.
Identity theft.
You might not.
Like,
know.
I guess you could just pretend that you're dead and then change nothing, and you could say you faked your own death.
Yeah.
But-
It can lead to crime, but it's not illegal to do it. You can do it.
I would say that if you faked your own death and then you just showed up, paid for a plot of land in cash, I mean, you have to fill out paperwork at some point for that, right?
Yeah.
I guess you could just show up and
You can have an accomplice that agrees to the land could be under their name, and you could just live on that land. You have like a, an agreement beforehand. I pay you X amount of dollars. You get this land from under your name, and I live off the land.
Yeah, you could do that, or you could show up at like somebody's, if they had a ranch, and be like, "I'll be a ranch hand if you give me a place to stay, pay me, $1,000 a month or whatever, cash. I'll just stay here on your land." You could probably get away with it that way until it came time to fill out any sort of paperwork. So I guess it's not fully impossible.
Yeah, Tupac's in Cuba, so
Good point.
How old is he now?
it's got to be in his 50s. 50. He's born in 71, so whatever that math is.
He'd be turning 54 in June.
Damn.
Same birthday.
June,
as
yeah.
me.
June 1, 6,
June
1.
16th.
Oh, really?
Yep. Me and
You got the
Tupac.
same birthday as Pac?
Yeah. And Phil
Lit.
Nicholson.
The birthday paradox.
Yeah.
And
Lit.
Wonton Don.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Yeah,
Mac and
Donnie.
Pac, dog.
it's a good birthday.
It's a
Yeah.
great birthday.
Mine is 6/16/96. It might be the
Damn.
devil.
Yeah.
That's- He died in 96.
Welcome back.
Oh, shit.
Jay-Z lied about that too.
It's Machiavelli.
Machiavelli. Yeah, Jay-Z hasn't lied about that. He said, "I arrived on the day Fred Hampton died. Real niggas just multiply." The reincarnation of Pac. Mac, welcome back, baby.
We're
Love
just
it.
alike. I can totally see it.
So yeah, Ziz's idea was to get a bunch of AI researchers to live together, and Ziz's original plan was to have them live on a bunch of boats and kind of off the grid, working on AI shit. But that was hard to do, so Ziz found this guy that owned a trailer park, and said, "Okay, we're all gonna move in here. You can
Next
be
best thing.
you'll be our landlord. We're all gonna live together on a compound. We're not gonna eat animals. We're gonna sit around a campfire, and I'm gonna tell people if they've been good that day." So this guy, his name was Lind, and he was the landlord, and so they fell behind on rent in 2022. In November, he was attacked. Like I said, he was stabbed multiple times with a sword. He lost his eye because he was threatening to evict them for not paying rent. Ziz was on the property during the incident, got handcuffed by the police, but Ziz was never charged. She was taken to Vallejo Police Headquarters, and a homicide investigator said that she faked a medical emergency and was taken by an ambulance to a hospital. So that was the initial attack on Lind. They were living in the trailer. They had box trucks. They had a collection of samurai swords. He would see them all the time dressed in all black, and a lot of them were men that were transitioning to being women. And then they stopped paying rent during the pandemic. So after Lynn took the group to court for back rent, that's when one of them took out a pocket knife, patted the blade while smiling at him. Lynn's daughter said the squatters overtook the property, placing locks on trailers intended for other people. And then in 2022, there was the attack. And then Lind was going to testify against the people that attacked him. He was the only eyewitness. And the trial was going to take place this April 2025. And then January 24th at 1 a.m., a guy named Maximilian Snyder was arrested in Redding, California, saying that Snyder laid in wait for Lind with a knife, and they ended up murdering Lind. So lying in wait is I didn't realize it, but that's an actual crime. Lying in wait for somebody.
That's the name of the crime?
Yeah, I mean, there's also murder, but
Right.
there's like additional charges that get tacked on if you lie in wait for somebody.
Interesting.
So that shows like extreme premeditation, and I guess the act of surprising somebody. I don't know what it is.
I'm reading an email that guy, the Maximilian character, sent to AI researcher Eliezer Yudkowsky.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, first, I am not one of Ziz's friends, and neither she nor her friends endorse me or my words so far as I know. I speak only for myself as myself for the sake of everyone. This I swear on my laws. With that out of the way, Eliezer, you need to have a crisis of faith about whether animals are people. It is critical to saving the world. Like, these people are out of their, I mean, clearly they're out of their minds.
Yes.
But, like, animals are definitionally not people.
Right.
I don't really understand like, if you want to, like, say the animals are at risk, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they're people now?
Yeah, I don't know. Where do you draw the line with that? Like, are ants people?
And then he says, like, I have $6,000 I'm willing to bet against the expected good that would come of you having the crisis of faith on the claim that you will not regret spending at least 24 hours on. This guy's a nut job.
Yeah, big time. So this guy Maximilian, he was the one that laid in wait. Actually, he was arrested on the 22nd or 24th of January, but the murder took place on January 17th. So Lind was outside his gated property in Vallejo, and he got stabbed to death by allegedly Maximilian Snyder because he was going to be a witness. And then that led to another marriage, or excuse me, another murder by somebody who had at least filed for a marriage certificate to marry Max. So this is somebody named Youngblood. Youngblood has been accused of murder in Vermont, which took place shortly thereafter. And Youngblood had applied for a marriage license to marry Snyder, but we don't know if they ever actually got married. So they've been on a little bit of a spree. I'm going to guess that the other murder in Vermont, which a border guard was shot and killed, they were probably trying to either establish a compound in Vermont or escape to Canada because the block was getting a little bit hot for them. So they had to get out of town. Okay, so there are some other murders that are connected to this group. There was one that took place in Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. So this one involved Felix Ophelia Baucult. Felix was a high school student in Germany, and Felix was a national math champion. She won a gold medal at the International Olympiad in Informatics, which is a coding contest. Apparently, it's the most prestigious coding contest in the world for high schoolers. And Felix got a scholarship to study pure mathematics at the University of Waterloo in Canada. Felix interned at Jane Street Capital in New York, which is a trading firm, probably seen on a bunch of shows. It's like one of the most prestigious trading firms, and Felix was a quant there. I love those memes, by the way, where it's like, this is my quant.
Yeah, I'm almost too afraid to ask at this point because I see it so much, but what is that?
So if you've watched like The Big Short, or if you've watched Billions, all these traders are like, this is my quant. And the quant is just like somebody behind the scenes that just only looks at spreadsheets and understands math really, really
Just
well.
a math guy.
Like the next level math person, yeah.
Okay.
So if somebody says something stupid online, you're like, this is my quant.
Yeah, I've seen those a bunch.
Yeah. I like the meme. It's a good meme. So Felix was an intern at Jane Street Capital, where she was a quant, and she used mathematical models to identify investment opportunities. And then she worked for Tower Research Capital. Felix was making more than $500,000 per year, juggling a social calendar, and then had an apartment in Jersey City, and that's where her network of friends, many of whom were highly educated transgender women like her, they would meet, they would discuss rationality, they would discuss, it sounds like everybody involved in this heavily on the spectrum. And then Felix began to retreat from friends and talk on the phone for long periods of time to people that she wouldn't identify. She would take weekend flights to places, and she wouldn't talk about what she did there. Then in November 2023, she hopped on a flight from Newark and cut off all contact with her friends. They didn't have any idea where she had gone. She was a transgender woman who was shot fatally on January 20th, 2025, after she and another individual, Teresa Youngblood, engaged in a shootout with Border Patrol agents. And it was after they pulled over Baucolt's 2015 Prius. And inside that Prius, they found a ballistic helmet, night vision goggles, 48 rounds of ammunition, used shooting range targets, a dozen electronic devices, cell phones wrapped in aluminum foil, and other things. And during the traffic stop, there was a woman that was riding in the car as well that drew a gun, opened fire on one of the agents, and then one agent shot back. Agent Dave Milland was killed in the gunfight. And they had been surveilling Youngblood and Baucolt since January 14th because there was a person who worked at a hotel in Lyndonville, Vermont, where they were staying, that saw them dressed in black tactical clothing, protective equipment, and the employee told officials they observed Youngblood carrying a holstered firearm. Probably not that uncommon in Vermont to see people dressed in like tactical gear with guns. There's a bit of that streak going on up there.
But it's not ridiculously common.
Not ridiculously common, but it was whatever was going on was enough to draw attention. Where it's like, oh, this is not our everyday militia person that lives up here. There's some weird shit going on. And so, yeah, there was a shootout. A Border Patrol agent was murdered, and there's also a murder that happened in Pennsylvania, a double murder. So this is 2023. 72-year-old Richard Zyko and 69-year-old Rita Zyko were found dead in their home in Chester Heights. Police got called there, and they discovered that they had been shot to death on New Year's Eve. And in the days after the highway shooting of the border agent, alerts from a federal agency and police were issued about Michelle Zyko, who was the child of the two that were killed in the Pennsylvania home. In 2021, Michelle Zyko bought a half acre of property in Derby, Vermont for $10,000, very close to the highway shooting, and the land is undeveloped. Zyko is allegedly also known or previously known as Jamie. Jamie Zyko was an associate of Ziz, and they suspect that the homicide was to gain several $1 million of inheritance, and police also believe that Ziz is involved in that murder. Police also suspect Daniel Blank, another associate of Ziz, is involved in the murder. And the cops dropped a picture of 32-year-old Michelle Jamie Zyko, and a manhunt is underway for her in multiple states. So this is like where the rationalism comes in. It's like they can say we're going to commit a double murder of our family, and it's all in the name of like these two people had to die to make AI happen down the road because they've got money and will fund us.
I'm still just not completely understanding these guys' mission. So it's like they love AI,
Mm-hmm.
and they want fewer humans, which is, I understand why they recruit a lot of gay and transgender people, because they say they are less likely to repopulate the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of it.
I also think it is a standard cult. Like everything that they do is like it's common amongst all cults, and they are recruiting people who are lost and probably very autistic, because they can appeal to them with the idea of the rationalism where they're like, okay, you have to do X, Y, and Z in order to make the world a better place. Like that, you can mathematically quantify every human life equals this for the future. Every human life doing good equals this for the future. Gives us a higher probability of surviving. But really, we're going to murder people who are personal inconveniences to us because we don't feel like paying rent. We're broke. We don't have any money, so you're going to kill your parents.
It seems like a real...
I see this, and I'm like, I'm with y'all, right? It's like, it's just wow. But like, this template is very prevalent in all aspects of our lives. So like, So I know you won't agree with this, Big T, but I see the same shit. Like religion is very similar to this, right? Like their whole thing is they want to sacrifice, right? There has to be a to ends justify the means. When you read the stories in the Bible, it's the exact same thing. The ends justify the means, and there was murder, Jesus, the wiping out of an entire civilization, same vibes. Like U.S. foreign policy, same vibes, and it just baffles me that we can view this as a society as batshit crazy, but not everything else that we do.
Wait. Run that back for me again.
Their ends justify their means.
Okay.
The religion that you're in, those ends justify its means.
What ends and what means?
Okay, you believe Jesus was murdered, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
Well, he did it willingly, but yes, go.
Well, those ends justify those means.
Okay, but that was something you said religion as if it's something that's occurring now. Those are things that happened 2,000 years ago.
Well, the origins of it. It's like, so when I'm listening to this cult, right? And I'm not saying religion is a cult. I think there's a few distinct differences, but it's very similar. It's like just very similar to me. Like the justification and the rationalization of it is indistinguishable for me. And so
from what though?
They believe that they're doing the correct thing, right?
They're killing people though.
So did God. He wiped out a civilization.
Yes, but when you say religion, that makes it sound like you're talking about like people following a religion right now.
No, yes. Is that not the origins of Christianity?
Yes, but I'm trying to figure out how to better.
This is my I guess and not to bring it to religion, but it's just hearing this is fascinating to me because like it's exact. So the U.S. government is aiding. We'll take it out of religion, right? Because I feel like you can't box with God, right? The U.S. foreign policy is currently killing people right now. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah.
The ends justify the means. It's the same.
That is necessary to the. Listen.
That's what they would say.
I guess, but it's objectively incorrect.
It's not. You would call it. What's the euphemism for murder in foreign policy? It's what is it called?
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage. You would call it collateral damage. Tens of thousands of people are gone, murdered, and you're saying that's just part of it. They're doing the exact same thing. They're saying that's just part of it. And for the life of me, I cannot understand how rational people can look at this and say it's batshit crazy and not look at everything else that we're involved in.
But I do think, go back to religion. Tell me what that's like in religion now. You're saying like God punishing people and killing them a long time ago. That's not the same.
You're differentiating God then from God now, and in His words, not mine. I never change. My word is forever.
No. These people are not God. You said what they're doing.
This is what I'm saying. In your brain, you're saying the rationalization of God murdering people is moral. And you're saying the rationalization of them murdering people is immoral. I'm saying it's both immoral, but your religion has convinced you that murder was moral.
Okay, no. I guess what I'm hung up on is you said you compared them to religious followers. Is that incorrect?
Well, in a sense, yes. No, in a sense.
Okay,
yes,
so then that's the distinction I need. How are they the same as?
Okay, I'll tell you. Did the origins of Christianity, did or did not God wipe out a civilization, including babies?
Yes. So you're really hung up on like
murder. I am.
No, I don't think you're. Okay.
You're differentiating now from then, and I'm saying there's no difference. If I was to tell you
a God punishing people thousands of years ago to these random people
if I was to tell you, I have this new thing, and I
Okay,
want you
okay.
to follow
No,
it
no, no.
by the word.
I got it. Because you're comparing them to God, and that's fine. But you said it's like the followers of a religion. So that's what I need you to tell me how they're the same.
The
So a
rules in
Christian
which,
who says, like, I believe the Bible, I want to live my life this way, I want to make
if you believe it-
sacrifices in my life to worship God. Tell me how that's the same as them.
if you believe in the Bible, you believe that your God has wiped out babies.
Okay.
I think that's immoral. If you believe in this ZZ chick, you believe that she has wiped out human beings, but you believe her justification, her rationalization was her rationalization was justified by her end goal, which was to, I assume it's double good because her brain is double good.
I
You
see
think
where
God's
you're
brain is double
trying
good.
to get, but it doesn't work.
I know it doesn't. This is so when that's why I interjected, because it's fascinating to me how you differentiate, like the way you think about this ZZ chick is the way I think about the Abrahamic gods. They're ravenous murderers. You admit that, but you think God's brain is double good. That's the difference. I think it's nonsense, but you think God's brain is double good. You've been convinced that his brain is double good. So you think a baby that has made no decisions on its own was justified in being wiped out.
I see where you're trying to go, but it doesn't. I would say this if you were talking about like Islam, I would say it doesn't work.
It does. I use Christianity just because you're a Christian, but it goes the same with Islam. Muhammad absolutely be-wedded an underage girl. That's moral.
I need you to.
You
These
are
people
justifying immoral acts.
No, I see what I see where you're trying to get to.
Yeah, you're justifying immoral acts because you believe the purveyor of those acts has a righteous cause. That cult justifies immoral acts because they believe the purveyor of those immoral acts has a justified cause. It is akin, but in your eyes, it's moral. In their eyes, it's moral too. Most people don't believe they're bad people. Like, most bad people don't believe they're bad people. They believe in the causes that they're doing, the things that they're doing. They think this is justified. And I'm not saying you're out committing murders. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the following of it is very similar. You're unconvinced of that, obviously, or else you wouldn't follow it. But that's why I don't follow it or wouldn't follow it. It's a fascinating.
I think
like a cognitive dissonance.
No, it isn't, because I said I see what you're saying. The distinction is the events you're talking about happened thousands and thousands of years ago, and there have since been hundreds of generations of people. These people are like, they are the whole thing.
No, that's what I'm saying though. You're differentiating the God of the Old Testament and saying it's different now. It's not, per his words, not mine. He said that his morality's never changed.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
I 1,000% understand what you're saying.
I promise you don't, because you just repeated it back to me and it wasn't what I was saying. I'm probably doing a poor job of saying it, but that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, tell me if I'll still man you. Tell me if this is correct or incorrect. You're saying the people now that are following this cult are doing the bad acts. And
correct.
They're justifying the bad acts.
There's nothing to follow.
Still manning you.
They're just doing it.
No, there is. She has a whole doctrine. They have an angle. The reason why they're doing what they're doing.
They look at life through the lens of the trolley problem.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the trolley. If you're not familiar with that, it is like a thought experiment where there's a trolley that's going down the street, and the track divides into two different intersections. So you can choose to go left, you can choose to go right. If the trolley continues going on the track that it is currently on, it's going to run over and kill 5 people. But you, as a bystander on the side, you have the ability to pull a lever make the trolley divert from that path, take a different path so it doesn't run over the 5 people and instead runs over one person that's standing on the track. What do you do? What is the trolley problem? Like what do you do with that? That's what kind of like it's part of the belief of the Unabomber.
Mm-hmm.
He was killing people in order to make a point and to gain traction with his beliefs that the world is going down an unsustainable path and it will result in the death of millions or billions of people if we keep going down this path. So if you kill one advertising executive, then that's fine if it's in promotion of this further cause.
Mm-hmm.
So the rationalists, they subscribe to this idea. It's like, yeah, you should always kill that one person. But it's also a false dichotomy that you don't necessarily know what's going to happen is going to result in the death of like all these people. You just are that into your own belief system that you believe that you're right in.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. I just think that let's say the Unabomber 100 years from now starts to develop a cult following, right? And then they start to look at his manifesto and they start to read his doctrines, read his words. 1,000 years from now, there's a group of people that believe he was, let's say somebody puts in the air that he was divine, right? And then they start to believe that. Over the years, his words and the justifications of what he did would far exceed the hard acts that he committed.
Right. It's just, in this case, it's a God, replace God with an AI that doesn't yet exist.
Yes. And so to my point, it's not, I'm not saying, what I'm basically saying is the time has not passed enough for people to, I guess, fall in line with these, this line of thinking that they're subscribing to. But given time, I find it odd that people can't see that this is very similar to the origins of any religion, because we have zero evidence of divinity, right? And so that is the claim to fame to like modern major religions. And I think that people suspend their rationality when it comes to their belief system. And
so do you think there's a difference in like someone who goes to church that you would describe as being like a good person, tries to do good and live biblically, and then these people, or you see no difference in them?
I see no difference in their rationale. I see a difference in the way that I think the majority of religious people don't read the text that they subscribe to. I think the majority of them don't care to see it as they're like absolutists or what is it called? Literalists. They're not Bible literalists or Quranic literalists. I think most people just need like a baseline and a guideline of how to live life. That's how I see most religious people. But I think there are people like that who want to change the laws and want to live in a theocracy. I think there are people like that, and I think those people are not far off from these people. The rationale is the same. That's my point. The rationale is the same. Like your rationale and their rationale is the same. I just don't think you care enough about it.
I think you're boiling down the word rationale to just like believing in anything.
No, rationale, it deals with logic and reasoning. Your reasoning for believing in your religion is very similar to their reasoning and believing in Zizi. It's very similar.
No, it isn't.
How?
Because if you're speaking about Christianity in particular, the logic in that is based in 2,000 years of tradition and beliefs and stories and things like that, whereas this is people who met a guy who said a couple things that they agree with that are nuts, and then they're like, we should go kill people. Those are not the same.
You're describing the origins of Christianity. People who met a guy who said some things.
Oh,
that is literally the origins.
And the difference is that was a long time ago, and we have people saying these things happened. Here's what this guy did, so on and so forth, collected into a group of writings, and then you can choose to do with that whatever you want. This guy is they're just going around killing people. Those are not. You can say that the the basis of the rationality is similar if you want to, but they're not the same in nature.
You're speaking in degrees. The degree of it. So you're saying because it's stood the test of time, the odds of it being accurate probably are higher than this new one. I don't disagree
That
with
is
that.
part of it.
I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is the rationale for belief. I'm not saying, and that is a part of the equation. I'm saying that you're right. The baseline of the rationale of that belief is the same. It's a guy who said things that we don't have much evidence of their claims, and we believe and subscribe to them. So by your logic, Islam is or Judaism is as logical or rational to believe in as Christianity.
Well, there
By your
are
logic.
differentiators about that make that not the case, but
this
more
is what I'm
so
saying.
than this.
That's what I'm saying. You would use the same rationale and that same logic to differentiate Christianity and Islam, but all that is the exact same rationale because there's no definitive evidence, and it's fat. Like I said, I don't want to get too caught up in it, but it's a fascinating aspect to me. It's all good.
Okay.
So it is their religion, which is do everything in service of this unavoidable AI that will come about one day, and that will someday rule the world, and that will be our God. And in their sick mindset, they believe it. And right now, Ziz is on the lam right now. So Ziz was in a hotel room with the guy that murdered the parents, and they found Ziz, who pretended to be dead, just closed. I don't know whether to call Ziz her or him or they or whatever. I'm just going to call Ziz because all the names get confusing. But Ziz was laying on the ground pretending to be asleep or pretending to be dead. When the cops barged in that hotel room, they put Ziz in handcuffs, charged Ziz with disorderly conduct, a bunch of other stuff. Ziz was a person of interest in that double murder, but ultimately was never charged with murder. And then Ziz has just skipped bail and is gone right now. And nobody knows where Ziz is. My prediction is that this is all going to end in everybody in that group just offing themselves or some sort of shootout. They got high on their own supply.
I can see that.
Led them down a bad path.
Not a good thing, man.
But I don't know. Ziz has like a very firm control over everybody that's in the cult. So Ziz will make them do whatever Ziz wants them to do. Just don't join a cult.
Pretty standard op right there.
Just don't do. Yeah, if you find yourself in a position where you're not telling your family what you're up to and you're going off the grid because it's one person has all the answers, maybe start to think about that and be like, hey, this might not be that productive.
Telltale sign you're entering a cult or you're starting to get into cultist stuff is they tell you they cut you off from your family. They tell you to cut off your friends and family. If people are telling you to do that, you got to reevaluate your belief system.
Yep. All right. Anything else we want to talk about with the Zizians? My computer's going crazy right now.
Oh, no.
What happens when you try to hydrate it,
The
bro?
flash IV's making it flash?
Yeah, computers don't like flash. Maybe the Zizians would be pissed off at me for that, for destroying technology with hydration, with electrolytes.
Oh, no.
Yep. All right. That's fine. I'll try to get it fixed. Maybe just steal a computer before I go.
You're going on vacation. Who
I'm going on
cares?
vacation. Fuck it. Vacation time. If I get out of here with the snow, we'll see.
Where are you going on vacation?
I'm going to be an island boy. What happened to those guys?
I know, right? Where did they go?
Exactly what should have happened to them dudes.
What are they up to these days?
Who cares?
Weren't they like fucking each other?
What?
What?
They're like brothers, ain't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they were like fucking each other.
Wait, are they the same ones as the
I
Da
just
Vinci
searched
Bros?
Island Boys on Twitter. Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Well, now I got to do it.
Were they fucking each other?
Not each other necessarily,
okay.
but that's the first result. Look at
Just
this.
straight up porn. Just back shots.
Oh, they're kissing. Wait, is that a mirror or is they actually
They have
doing
kissed, yeah.
They-
There's a video of
they've
that.
kissed.
Yeah,
but
don't search Island Boys.
what Big T just showed me appeared to be one of the Island Boys with a female.
Right, but then below that was the stuff with each other. So
Yeah.
just don't
Oh,
save
you were
yourself
right.
the time.
Ah, that's in my algorithm now.
The Byland Boys, it looks like.
Oh, speaking of wild Twitter shit, did y'all peep Kanye's 2-day long rant at all?
I saw some of it. There was a
He wa-
extended portion of time where he was just posting hardcore porn.
Yeah, he was like just like porn. And the funny part is, I remember when he was doing his
Sunday service.
his Jesus is King. Oh, hold on, put a pin mark in the Sunday service. But when he was doing his Jesus is King album, he was like slandering modern rap, saying it was like devil music and they want you to be this and that. And then all of a sudden, this nigga, years removed, was posting like real life porn. He used to be against porn too.
Yeah.
But who was it? I forget who it was. I read it a while back, but basically the Sunday services was a tax evasion thing. And somebody
Yes,
was
I saw
funding
that.
it.
Kris
and
Jenner.
it was just for tax evasion.
How was that?
I forget the details of it.
Because it operated as a church, so it was exempt from taxes, and so then he could do everything through the church business-wise. Apparently, that's what the Jenner Kardashians, I guess that's one of their little loopholes, is that things just operate through a tax-exempt something. Yeah.
Usually the
So
people
what I've
that
learned
are
about Kanye over
that are so anti-porn, that make that like a public thing of being anti-porn, they're the ones that have a massive porn problem.
yeah, just like the pedophile stuff. If you like too hardcore on it, like I would check that dude's hard drive. The gay bashing,
Yeah.
I would check that dude's text messages. You
Because
know
if
what I
you're
mean?
like, if you're out there saying what a problem porn is and how it's like corrupting everybody's brain, I do think that there's some truth into like kids being able to watch porn so easily as a child. Kind of fucks
Sure.
up their whole perception of what healthy sex is. But
disagree.
the people who are like, yeah, it's the worst thing and it will lead to unimaginable corruption, that's just because they've experienced their own brain like getting unimaginably corrupt by watching porn.
That's why I don't 100% believe in free speech. No, because by definition, the U.S. Supreme Court said porn was free speech, and so, I think some things need to be regulated. Dog.
So yeah, Kanye he's on one right now. What else was he
Oh,
saying? He was talking
Well, he
about
sold
the,
those
he
shirts.
said- He
What-
said what?
He was selling those shirts.
what shirts?
Swastika.
Yeah.
A
Right.
shirt with a swastika in it. So Shopify took his link down so you can't see it anymore, but he took down all his merchandise and just the only thing you could buy on there was a shirt with a swastika on it. He said, "I am a Nazi," like very bold and plain, like that was one of his tweets. And he said Hitler was so fresh.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to ask a question. Do we think this is the result of him being off of like a medication?
I'd say
I think
probably.
He
he's
said
manic.
many years ago, "You've never seen nothing crazier than me off the Lexapro." Very clear about it.
So true.
I think he's not mentally well, and I think the laughing gas is probably
Yeah.
not helping anything.
We talked about that on here before. Doesn't that just basically melt your brain?
Yeah, it probably also like he's got some issues that were there to begin with. Probably makes those a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he was bipolar. Like he has manic episodes, so he comes in these waves. So he'll start an apology tour in some months, which he did last time, and this one was heavily like against anti-Jew. Boy, he had some choice
Just
words.
terrible.
Bro. Then he started saying,
It's also hard for him to justify like I'm taking back the symbol of peace, the Hindu symbol of peace, when you are following up with "I am a Nazi. Hitler was so
Yeah.
fresh."
"Yeah, I don't think he even proclaimed that's what he was doing. I think he just liked Nazis. He likes Nazis, and because I think they were so anti-Jewish, and he is like anti-Jewish, like." I'm unsure if he's more like, because there are people who are anti-Zionist, I don't even think he's anti-Zionist. I think he's just like anti-Jew.
Hmm.
Like
I'm not going to
Is-
say what kind of doctor he was.
one of the funniest clips of all time.
It was a Jewish doctor.
It was a Jewish doctor. Then he started going in on fat women.
Yes.
He
Okay.
started going in on fat people in general, dog.
That he doesn't want to
Crazy.
see them in clothes, let alone without clothes on. And
Yep, like going hard,
Yeah.
hard in the paint. I was like, yo, this is wild.
So like dabbling in eugenics too.
I don't think this is dabbling.
Yeah, just full on.
Yeah. But then also, like, Kim Kardashian saying this, like, what do you do about that being the father of your children?
Yeah, how do you keep them away when he's going through these episodes?
And, like, Northwest, the oldest, is, like, obsessed with him. Like, she loves Kanye.
yeah,
That's one of the only instances I would say you got to get the law involved. You very rarely I feel like you should handle family issues in the courts. I think the court systems are fucking cesspools. But in this instance, you have to take action because I believe every parent should have time with their kids. But you are a threat. You're a threat, not harm to the children like physically, but mentally. Like you're unwell, dog. Like
You can't take care of children in that state of mind.
I don't think so. And I mean, it's tough because you're telling a father not to spend time with their daughter and son, but like you, you can't do this. Like this is, I think he's sick. I think he's unwell, and so I hope he gets the help he needs, man. But he put out a fire ass song not too long ago, though. That's the bad thing. Is like when he's mentally unwell, his music be fucking dope.
the judge
Did you see
rules.
that-
Like you have to, instead of going to prison, you just have to stay in a recording studio.
Make beats for the general public. That's your community service.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, he put out. It was a dope visual too. It was basically talking about like the cosmetic nature of our society.
Hmm.
It was fire, dog. Beat was fire, but that man, something wrong with that man.
Yep.
Hope you alright.
All right. Anything else we want to get into today?
Rough and Rowdy's official.
Is it official?
Yeah.
It just came out.
Tweeted.
Yeah.
What does it say?
It says it's going to be John Rocker against Patrick Mahomes Sr.
Oh no way. That's a crazy matchup, Big T.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
just hearing this information for the first time.
Yeah.
my
What is
God.
this? What is this information? Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens.
Man,
What a crazy
Pat
ma-
Mahomes about to get his ass whooped.
What a crazy matchup.
He looked frail,
He's
man.
so
I seen
little.
this video and
He's
John
so-
Rocker. They was amping it a little bit.
Yeah.
He about to get pounded unless he just got super duper hands. I don't see this going well for Cuz. I don't know.
John Rocker he looks like he's in pretty good shape right now.
Look big, man.
looks
Which don't necessarily correlate to hands.
That's
right?
true.
So I'm saying I done seen some big dudes get dropped for sure, but I hope he got some. I hope he got them. Hope he got them things in order, man. You better throw them mittens.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's like popcorn muscles. Maybe he's just got that TRT like steroid body.
I had a homeboy and I grew up with. This nigga had the sweetest hands I've ever seen in my life. We talking about of non-boxers, Mayweather fast. Like fast, skinny, frail. But I seen him put some people down. His hands was so fast, dog. It was crazy. So I'm hoping Pat Senior got something like that, man. I don't know.
Yeah, just an absolutely bonkers matchup. Never in a million years did I think that we'd be doing Patrick Mahomes, John Rocker.
Yeah, it's a wild thing.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week on nanodosing and macrodosing. Happy President's Day coming up this weekend to all the presidents who listen to the show.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Don't forget about Valentine's Day, Arian.
Locked in.
Friday, Valentine's Day.
Locked in.
Make
baby.
sure to celebrate. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Love you guys.